Now, with all marketing strategies that use celebrities and famous people, this is a relatively black and white way to think, and it does work in the way that people who love the celebrity are going to buy into the product and people who hate them aren't going to buy into the product. But do I actually have any major objections to Lincoln automobiles? I've never sat behind the wheel of one, but I don't really like Matthew McConaughey. I don't want to be like him, so the brand doesn't speak to me. I think the objections people are going to come across when trying to sell the real world or try to advise friends to join the platform are going to be like, well, aren't Andrew and Tristan bad guys? Aren't they criminals? Well, there are lots of millionaires and billionaires in the world who in fact do have criminal records and who in fact do commit criminal felonies. I'm not one of them, and Andrew isn't one of them. However, whether or not you like Andrew or I, you have to understand that we are fantastic internet marketers. That's the reason why you hate us, or it's the reason why you like us. So we obviously know what we're talking about, and there isn't a single person on the planet who could say Andrew and I don't understand how to make money. So if I'm teaching you how to make money, you better listen. O.J. Simpson, may God rest his soul, was actually an accused murderer. He was not convicted, but he was accused. And the general consensus is that he did in fact murder his ex-wife. Now, if he released a course teaching you how to be a great American football quarterback, you better buy it. Does it really matter that he committed X crime or you don't personally like him or you have any personal gripe or issue with O.J. Simpson? He was one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So if you want to learn how to play American football, there would be nothing wrong with learning from him. There are ways to overcome those objections, but I wouldn't waste your time with them. If people are so set in their mindset that they wish to believe that I, a man obviously worth hundreds of millions of dollars because you've seen my spending habits, you've seen the cars I drive, you've seen the private jets, you've seen all the stuff that I do. If somebody really believes that I had to make that money criminally, or I somehow had to exploit somebody to make that money, then there's no helping them. There's no helping them. That's just somebody being stupid. And stupid people, the real world really isn't for them. It's for the forward thinking. It's for the people who think outside of the matrix programming, outside of the box, and actually, maybe want to make a difference in their lives. I think that a lot of people lean into the stuff the mainstream media say, whether it's about me or whether it's about COVID or whether it's about foreign wars, because it's the easy standpoint to take. Your life's crap. You have no money. You have no girlfriend. Well, it's fine. Maybe my weight problem isn't my fault. I need to take some antidepressants. The food I eat has nothing to do with me being fat. It's normal. It's healthy to, watch porn all day. And they lean into these narratives because it's a very easy way of escapism. It's a very easy way of putting all your sins on somebody else. Instead of finding Jesus Christ, they find mental health or food or depression or maybe the mainstream news. And they're like, okay, well, the whole world is ruined because of Vladimir Putin, for example. Well, that explains why my life sucks. You can't really help these people snap out of it because there's enough people in the world who have the mindset of a winner. There's enough people in the world who do want to go out there and make changes in their life and find the success that is available to anybody. Well, from a networking standpoint, the number one thing you have to remember, because I'm now at a stage in my life where a lot of people want to get to know me, so I see it from the other end. As a younger man, I would introduce myself to people and try to get to know them because they were important. Now I'm on the other side of the equation. The main thing to remember is that if you treat people like you're a fan, then they're going to treat you like you're one of the fans. That's it. If you treat people like a celebrity, they're going to treat you like a fan. So many years ago, even when I was not famous and not even relatively successful, or before I had any money, when I would meet famous people, I met a few famous actors through my kickboxing. You'd speak to them one-on-one, like a normal person. You'd introduce yourself. You'd ask them their name even, not in an obnoxious way, even if you already know what it is. And the best way to go about it is when you're working the room and you finally get face to face with these people. Do not ask for selfies. Do not ask for pictures. Do not act shocked or surprised or like a fan. Do not worship them. When I was sitting with that famous rapper the other day, I just sat down on the couch and we were shooting the shit man to man for over 45 minutes, an hour. I didn't ask him about his songs. I didn't ask him about his music. And we just talked like men. So that's the best way to network, I guess, is that when you finally do get the opportunity to speak to people, speak to them like a normal person. Otherwise, they're never going to take you seriously. I would say, yeah, absolutely. Get a commission-only sales job. Get a sales job that offers you no basic salary because it teaches you lots of things. One, the art of sales and closing the deal and actually bringing money in is very important. But two, it teaches you work ethic and hunger.
Because when I worked commission-only sales jobs, it was a matter of, I'm not going to eat unless I sell these windows. And, I'd take a 3-hour drive down to whichever house I was going to give the presentation in. I'd sit there, stare in the mirror, splash some water on my face, snap into sales mode, knock on the door, and then make my presentation. I was very, very good. And yeah, sales is a skill that Andrew and I have even to this day, but you have to understand absolutely everything, from the camera that's recording me to the chair I'm sitting on to this wooden paneling. There's somebody in every single company that makes everything that is somehow in charge of sales and marketing. So just think about things. Think about the items around you in the room. Think about the items you use every day. When you go and buy something, why did you buy it? Why did you buy it, and who convinced you to buy it? You could be ordering a coffee from Starbucks. Why? Why are you ordering the coffee from Starbucks? Who behind the desk of Starbucks HQ all those years ago sat and came up with the strategy that made you know what the brand is about and go there and actually buy their coffee? Obviously, boycott Starbucks, but that's just an example. But think about it when you buy things. Think about your reason for buying them. And then your mind will start thinking a lot more like a salesman. Yeah, if you're leaving university or high school, sales is definitely the field you should get into. It's the field you should get into because no matter what you learn and no matter what skill set you actually develop on top of sales, you have to convince people to use your product or service one way or another. Andrew and I are very good at sales, but anything you learn inside of the real world, even whether it be AI content creation, that's all well and good, and you could be the best in the world. But if you can't convince people to use your service and actually pay you money to do the things that you're good at, then it doesn't matter. It's all for nothing. So you should definitely get into sales. I'll be perfectly honest. Geography is one of the most important things to that. There's about 5 or 6 cities in the world where the people hang out, and you have to know the places in those cities where the people hang out. So again, you have to have your dress code right. You have to have your manners right. You have to have at least some money to be able to get into the door of those places. The world works in a very strange way when it comes to high-level men and especially beautiful women as well. Imagine it in terms of 3 different rooms, and one room is free to walk inside, and it's where all the fat chicks and the brokies hang out. One room costs $2,000 to walk inside just to get in the door, and there are the average-looking girls and the guys with a bit of money. And then one room costs $100,000 to walk into, and that's where all the 10 out of 10s hang out, and all the millionaires and billionaires and people you want to network with. That's exactly how the world actually works. That's not an analogy, because all of the places where the people who you want to meet are costs at least some money, or you have to have some type of reputation or some type of standing or some type of network or good friends to actually get into these places. So if you're in Bucharest, Romania, your odds of running into a high-value person who you think is going to be of any use to you is pretty much zero, because I probably don't want to talk to you, and neither does Andrew, and you don't know anyone else in the city. But Los Angeles, certainly, Miami, New York, London, Dubai, Singapore, there are places in the world where the people hang out. And depending on what you want to do and who you want to know, all depends on where you go. And then you just have to work your way up until you're in the same room as these people. That all depends on who you're trying to meet, but I would say the number one would be health and fitness. People will take you a lot more seriously if your clothes fit well and you're muscularly built and you're strong and you go up and give a firm handshake. If you're a fat sack of shit, people are not going to take you as seriously. That's just the way that the world works. So that's the base that you have to work off of as a young man, because maybe your IQ isn't that high, but maybe you're a nutritionist and personal trainer. Nutritionists and personal trainers to the ultra wealthy and to the celebrities of the world do very, very well. In fact, I heard of one actually. He was gifted a Ferrari for all of his hard work, but then he was arrested and had his car stolen by the police. That's quite an amusing story. But yeah, if he didn't have his particular skill set, I would never have met him, and I never would have associated with him, and he never would have worked for me. He never would have bought that Ferrari. On top of health and fitness, for making a good first impression, your ability to speak, your speaking voice, because that communicates into everything you do, whether it's sales and marketing, website design, fitness, training, whatever you think you have to offer people, you have to be able to convey the idea to them. You have to be able to explain the idea to them. Again, sales skills. I advise anybody, if you're young and you're broke and you don't have a job, take up a sales job. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if you're selling windows or newspaper advertisements over the phone. Take up a sales job, because life is sales. My cameraman had to sell me his skills before I hired him. Even meeting beautiful women is sales. You have to convince them to let you waste their time and spend time with them. So everything is sales. So your sales skills, your speaking voice, your health and fitness, and your general appearance are all the most important things.